The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came to be through him, and without him nothing came to be. What came to be through him was life, and this life was the light of the human race. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. The true light which enlightens everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came to be through him. But the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, but his own people did not accept him. But to those who did accept him, he gave power to become children of God. To those who believe in his name, who were born not by natural generation, nor by human choice, nor by a man's decision, but of God. And the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. And we saw his glory, the glory as of the Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
A blessed Christmas to everyone. Apil sa tumula din he. We're quite sure that there are people, especially we're praying for the souls and all the saints. They join us in this heavenly liturgy, today being a great moment when, as we recall or come to mind or refresh or make alive in our midst, the very moment when God has practically fulfilled that his presence will be concretely felt through the name that is given to him through the prophets, being Emmanuel, or God with us. And it is in this special occasion of Christmas that we are always constantly reminded. And if you listen carefully to the opening prayer ganina, there is an interesting note there. There is an interesting reflection, because he has shared with our humanity so that we will be able to share, partake of his divinity. And you know, every time we celebrate the Mass, that particular truth is always given an emphasis. Although you may not be aware of this, because, you know, some people, I'm just trying to be very practical also. You know, some people, they go to Mass every day or all the time or regularly. And they even memorize the prayers that the priests say, especially in the consecration. No? So I thank God that there are 4 or 6 formulae or formulas about it. But sometimes the shortest manggod mo yatong gamiton, Muna nga, when the priest speaks the consecration, kabalo ko na ay ninyo, no? Memoryado na ninyo by heart. Yan na po'y uban nga, ilapag yung ikusog. Muna nga usahay, no? Some priest would feel, uy, unsa man ni sila, mura man, wabya ni sila nag-iskoy lagi. Iskoylahan ni namo 14 katuig nya kuyugan rami ninyo diha. But apart from that, there are many other revelatory words that the priest actually imbibes. And I tell you something, when the mixing of the water and wine during the offertory, there is a very beautiful prayer that the priest says by himself. Ay, salamat, para dili ninyo madunggan. But it says, may this mingling of the water and wine, no, is actually the reflection that through his becoming man, we are able to share in his divinity. And that is Christmas. That is why every day is Christmas. Another beautiful reflection that actually emphasizes this great truth is found in the prologue of the Gospel of St. John, which we, by the way, also imbibe every time we pray the Angelus. And that is the third responsory in the Angelus. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And He made His dwelling among us. But it is not just something that He made His dwelling when we understand as dwelling as a static reality. No, nga naay balay, no, nga naa kay mansyon, naa kay bungalow, no, naa ba kay payag, hinoon. But the context of this expression actually comes from the original expression in the text that says, and He pitched His tent among us. Why is that very significant but not translated and popularly known? Pitching one's tent is actually the very experience of the people of God, especially from the very beginning, especially when they went out of Egypt, or even before that, because the ancestors of the Israelites and also our ancestors in the faith, they were not people who are what we call sedentary. No? Wala na sila nagpuyo. They were nomads. And this expression of pitching one's tent is actually the lifestyle of people who are constantly in a journey. And so when the Word became flesh and pitched His tent among us, it means to say that He lives and dwells not only statically, but He constantly lives with us dynamically, wherever we go, wherever we live. And that's the reason why migrant workers, they always experience that faith as something that challenges them to witness whatever they have understood, whatever they have imbibed, because with them and with all of us is God. And that is what Emmanuel means at the same time. So pitching His tent among us means wherever we go, there He is. And in fact, before even we go somewhere, He is already there because He is all over us. He is all over the world. And that is the presence of God that we have to acknowledge. Even when we are in darkness, He is always also there. That's why the gospel reading today speaks also about the light has shone in the darkness, which the darkness cannot even overcome. And my usual reflection during this day is always to realize that even if there is so much darkness around us, even a pinch of a needle's point into that darkness, that light will always make a significant difference. Nagabantay mo, ana, na kung mag-brown out, bisan gani pagka-out sa suga, ang ato ganing mga mata na apa man gani, mahabilin nga murag amag, no? Kanang reflection. And that is something that God's presence can never be obliterated. He can never be out of the world because He has come, He has become one like us. And so this is the very moment that we also have to reflect that in and through us, we make that presence of God felt in the words we say, in the deeds we do, and most especially in what we are trying to make out of this life that is God's gift to us. Precisely because in the first place, what came through Him was life. And this life is what we have. The most beautiful expression, however, is when He pitched His tent among us. It is something new. because a God becoming human beings like us. He did not become any other creature. I said that last night. And if we are talking about indwelling or living, no, if man is not worthy for such a participation, God could still have made his message. He lived among us, but he did not become a turtle or a tortoise. Because a tortoise has a house, but he only lives by himself, by itself. But God dwelt among us, shared with practically everything that is humanity. But because of that, we are able to partake of his divinity. That's why we continue with our hope. We continue with our journey. And in our journey, we pitch our tent. We walk a distance. We prove. We continue. We continue our lives. But then without giving up the idea that God, the presence of him, is always part of us. And one significant difference and truth is, he is not only walking along with us, but he really is the pathway upon which we are walking on. And that pathway will lead us to the very bosom, which is from the very beginning already was there. The presence and the bosom of God, who is our Father, who is our loving Father. And so as we continue with this Eucharistic celebration, reflecting on this great gift that is given to us by God our Father, by giving his Son to become one like us, we continue and constantly pray from our hearts, from where his presence is in our lives. Continue to walk the travel, the journey, even considering the travails and sufferings. Because he did not just only become one like us in birth. He also shared with our sufferings, with our travails, with our problems, and even with something that we are afraid of. He shared with our death, most of all, so that we can be brought into life eternal, his greatest gift to us. Merry Christmas and Amen.